So,
There.
oh, there. Okay. So, I want to welcome all of you this evening. For those who don't know me, I'm Karen Dunnett. I'm VP Atlantic on the board and chair of the governance committee, and will be one of the co-hosts for tonight's session. On behalf of the board and the nominations committee, I want to thank you for joining us to hear from the women who have put their names forward to serve on the CFUW National Board for the 2026-28 biennium. So next slide. Before we start, we will go to the protocols. And so just a quick reminder that please remain on mute. Also, if you can, it would be great if you rename yourself and put your club name, in the upper right-hand corner of your picture screen there, three dots. And when you hit on that, there'll be a list and you can go rename and put in your club name, along with you can leave your name and put your club in. If you have any questions, you may put the question in the chat or use the raise hand feature. And when you move your cursor, usually the strip along the bottom or sometimes on the top, depending on your device, you will see a little react with a heart. Don't click on the little up arrow, but click on the heart and you will see there raise the hand information that you click on in order to ask questions. So we'll move on to the land acknowledgement. The members of CFUW respect and honor the traditional territories of Indigenous peoples across Canada. We understand that from time immemorial, Canada has been the home of First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. Through continually educating ourselves, we reflect on the enduring presence of First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We recognize our present responsibilities are focused on further strengthening our ongoing commitment in action as we work together in a spirit of truth, collaboration, and reconciliation. This is a slide shows you the board structure, president, the portfolio VPs of advocacy, education, finance, international relations, and membership, and the regional VPs, VP British Columbia, Prairies, Ontario, Quebec, and the Atlantic. And for the next part of the webinar, I am pleased to introduce the nominations committee. Janet Wilworth is the chair from CFUW Halifax, Sharon Crabb from CFUW Fredericton, and Joy Hurst from CFUW Moncton. So without further ado, I pass the proceedings over to Janet.
Thank you, Lit. Thank you, Karen, very much. Welcome, everybody. And I think we can get started. The nomination period for the CFUW Board of Directors ran from February 27th until April 13th. And this call for nominations resulted in a number of candidates filing their application forms, along with their club nominations, by the deadline. We did not, however, have a full slate of candidates, so there was a second call for nominations, which concluded on May 15th. As a result, we have nominees for all but one board office. So here are the candidates. We have two candidates for president, Linda Sestock from Montreal Lakeshore, UWC, Heather Oxman from CFUW Lethbridge and District. VP Advocacy, we have Nikki Carlin from CFUW Windsor. VP Education, Audrey Hobbs-Johnson from CFUW North Vancouver. VP Finance, Susan Lane from CFUW Saanich Peninsula. For VP International Relations, we unfortunately received no nominations for that position. For VP membership, we have Ann Corden from CFUW Peterborough, VP British Columbia from Patricia Atkinson from CFUW Richmond, VP Prairies, Barbara Gustafson from CFUW Prince Albert, VP Ontario, Sandra Shaw from CFUW Perth and District, VP Quebec, Debbie Stowe from AFDU Quebec, and VP Atlantic Region, VP Atlantic, should say, sorry, Janet O'Brien from CFUW St. John's. So that is our slate of nominees. And you can see that there's a good representation across the country for our candidates. Most provinces are represented. We don't have a complete list from across the country, but we have a pretty good one, I think. So, okay. Okay, the next slide, please, Jamie. Okay. So it is now time to meet the candidates for the next board. And on behalf of the nominations committee, as well as our membership, I want to extend my sincere thanks to these members who have stepped forward to offer to serve on the CFUW National Board. I know from being a previous board member, it is a large undertaking, and we are exceedingly grateful to these members for coming forward. Okay, so with that, we'll start, and I would like to turn this part of the process to introduce first our candidates for regional vice presidents. And Sharon Crabb from CFW Fredericton, one of our members, is going to pose two questions to each of our candidates. They have been provided with these questions in advance, and they will be answering them in the order that you see on the slide. So, Sharon, I'll turn it over to you now.
Thank you, Janet. It's a great pleasure to be able to introduce the candidates for the regional school teacher in Ricardo, vice president position. And as Janet said, it's a lot of work and a lot of commitment. And thank you so much for stepping up. There are two questions that you are asked. What background do you bring to this position? And what is your vision for the future of CFUW? And so I will call upon our first candidate for the Atlantic region, Janet O'Brien. And Janet, you have 2 minutes to answer these questions. So the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Sharon. So, as she said, my name is Janet O'Brien. I'm currently president of the St. John's Club. I've been a member of CFUW since 2019, and prior to becoming president, I held the positions of vice president and chair of the program committee. My other committee involvement has been as a member of the communications committee and the issues and resolutions study group. My educational background includes a Bachelor of Commerce in 1980, as well as a Master's of Employment Relations in 2011. In 2018, I retired from a career in the field of labor relations and human resources. My work was primarily in the public sector, but I also worked in the private sector for a publicly traded company. I was the manager responsible for all aspects of labor relations and human resources in each of my positions. As a department manager, I was responsible for delivering programs and initiatives organization-wide. I had up to 8 staff directly reporting to me, as well as the human resources responsibilities organization-wide for up to 400 employees. And in one of the in that position where there was 400, they were also geographically dispersed from from Port aux Basques to St. John's and Lab City as well. So it was the whole province. I've reported directly to the chief executive officer, and I've made presentations to boards of directors in these positions. In my three paid jobs, I've been a part of the senior leadership team involved in strategic planning, financial oversight. In addition, I've also participated in strategic planning in my volunteer capacity. My advocacy experience has been as a chief negotiator in collective bargaining and arbitration hearings, and also as a daycare advocate. I've made presentations to cabinet committees in both my paid employments and in my volunteer capacity. I've volunteered with numerous organizations, Planned Parenthood, Confederation Building Daycare, uh, Newfoundland and Labrador Organization of Women Entrepreneurs, and I've held the positions of board chairperson, vice chair, treasurer, chair of ministry and personnel, and chair of personal development. So that's the first 2 minutes, is it?
We only have 2 minutes
Oh,
scheduled.
2 minutes for each question. Yeah.
Right, yeah. Okay. So the second question then, what's your vision for the future of CFUW? I envision CFUW as a growing and vibrant organization that receives broad public recognition. Our special projects, including our fundraising activities, give us a high profile and a very positive public image in many communities. I see CFUW using this social capital to broaden our recognition to all of our work, including advocacy that we do both nationally and internationally. I envision CFUW as an organization that's widely respected and is actively consulted by the political decision makers before they introduce new policies or update existing ones. In Atlantic Canada in particular, I see CFUW becoming more recognized by political leaders for our advocacy work. I envision CFUW as being well connected to all age groups, including those with diverse backgrounds that represent the rich cultures and history that make up Canada. I see CFUW developing more strategic partnerships with organizations that share our goals. This can be at the club level as well as the regional and national level. I see CFUW continuing to be a leader in promoting education for women and girls across Canada and around the world. Education is key for women striving to achieve social and economic equality, and our scholarship and other programs contribute greatly to this goal. I still have so much to learn about CFUW since my focus up till now has been at the club level. I'm excited to contribute at the regional and national level. I'm eager to be part of developing and implementing a vision for the future that likely will include several other aspects beyond what I've spoken about this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Janet. I'd now like to introduce our candidate, Deborah Stowe, for Vice President of Quebec. Deborah?
Thank you very much. My name is Debbie Stowe. I am a member of CFUW Quebec, which is one of the two French language clubs in the country. I currently serve as vice president of that club. In the past, I was also very active in the English language club that was in Quebec City, but it was unfortunately closed in around the year 2000, I believe. I have served on the executive of both of those clubs. From 2014 to 2018, I served as the regional director French for the province of Quebec. And following that, I was VP Quebec from 2018 to 2020 and served on the CFUW National Board at that time. I was co-chair of the local of the LAC for the 2015 AGM in Quebec City, and I am currently a member of the LAC for 2026 in Montreal. I am bilingual. I would consider myself to have excellent organizational and interpersonal skills and consider myself to be a team player. I'm very active in the Quebec City community. I'm currently serving as vice president of the Quebec City English Speaking Community Foundation and served as president of its predecessor, the Citadel Foundation. I serve on the HR and bursary committees of both of those foundations. My fundraising activities include St. Bridget's Guild, which is the local uh, English language old age long-term care facility. I serve on the urbanism committee of my local municipality here in Shannon, and I'm an active member of Lifelong Learning, 50 Plus Club, book clubs. I returned to university at the age of 37 to do my master's at University Laval after doing my bachelor's at UBC in the mid 80s. That when I returned to university to do my master's, I had 4 children, so it was a real juggling activity. Um, and then following my master's degree in forest ecophysiology, I stayed at the university for 25 years working in research coordination at all levels. I have an expertise in doing grant applications, reporting to numerous levels of government, budgeting, financing, strategic planning. I also enjoyed working with industry, indigenous communities, international organizations, as well as those in academia, but mostly I enjoyed working with the students. And I'm anxious to go back on the board and help CFUW in as we move on to rejuvenate ourselves. So I can go on to my vision now. My vision for CFUW would be to rejuvenate, to try and bring those 35 to 50-year-olds into the organization because they are the future. CFUW, we all know is not maybe not relevant to that age group, as relevant to that age group as when my mother was a member, because CFUW in the past had always served as sort of a networking and uh, 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 something for women who were at home with their kids but had university educations to socialize with each other, but also for advocacy and stuff like that. Unfortunately, my daughters do not have the time. They're busy raising families, busy at work, all of that. So we have to try and find things that will attract those young women and middle-aged women into the association. I believe that CFUW's place is not only on the national level, but we do excellent work internationally, and I believe we should expand that. I think that a lot of the activism, and I noticed in someone else that put in there that we should go to club-centric activities, and I believe that clubs are doing wonderful jobs supporting local communities, supporting women at risk, families, children, students, and I believe that nationally we should be focusing on advocacy that are key issues that historically CFUW has valued: education, encouraging accessibility to education at all levels, not just university, but I believe that we should be encouraging women to go into the trades, and we should also be ensuring that immigrants who have qualifications can be recognized here in this country. And as I mentioned, I believe that we should continue to increase our international impact because we're doing a wonderful job. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your background and vision with us, Debbie. At this time, I'd like to call upon Sandra Shaw, who is a candidate for Vice President Ontario. Sandra?
Thank you. I'm incredibly honored to be before you once again as the applicant for the role of VP Ontario. Having served in this position for the past 2 years, I'm eager to build upon the momentum that we've created as a board team. To answer the first question regarding the background I bring, my leadership is grounded in entrepreneurship as a successful businesswoman running my own company with up to 50 employees for over 35 years. I have experience in deep governance, strategic oversight, and advocacy experience within my own CFUW club, Perth and District, within CFUW National, as president of Ontario Council, and the broader community, where I've been a board member of many other organizations in healthcare, including president of the CML Society of Canada. I sat on the board of seniors organization. I have been involved in boards on women's issues, including breast cancer in Montreal and grantee groups. I currently also chair a regional community health center board. Over the last 2 years as VP Ontario, I've worked hard to streamline with other board members our board structures and foster a culture of transparent and collaborative communication with the national committees I sit on and amongst the Ontario clubs I serve. I understand the unique challenges our Ontario clubs face, and I have the proven steady hands needed to navigate them. My educational background, which is not particularly suited perhaps to an organization like this, is an undergraduate degree in genetics. And like Debbie, I returned to university later in life during my late 50s to work on a degree in bioethics. This brings me to my vision for the future of CFUW. First, I believe our future relies on relevance and reach. We must bridge the generational gap. I want to see CFUW become a place where younger members and students actively see themselves reflected in our advocacy, bringing new energy into our club while honoring our deep roots. And as was exemplified at the recent Ontario Council AGM, we do have clubs that do have students. And this year, for the first time, I suspect across Canada, we had the first student-initiated resolution presented at the AGM, and it was accepted unanimously. Second, I believe we must amplify our collective voice from grassroots municipal efforts to national policy. Our advocacy must be sharp, focused, and undeniable. And finally, my vision is one of unity. Ontario represents a significant and vibrant portion of our national identity. As VP Ontario, my goal is to ensure our provincial strengths directly feed into and fortify the national collective, making us a more cohesive, modern, and impactful organization. I'd like to thank you for your continued trust and for the opportunity to serve you for another term. Thank you.
Sharon, you're muted.
My goodness, I didn't realize. I'm so sorry. At this time, I'd like to call upon the candidate for Vice President of the Prairies, Barbara Gustafson.
Thanks, Sharon. The background that I bring to to this position with CFUW, I've been a member of CFUW for almost 40 years in Prince Albert, and I've held every executive position available through the years locally. I have been and I continue to be involved with the Saskatchewan Council, particularly through assisting with the New Beginnings grant that is administered by the Council and funded through the Saskatchewan clubs. Following a career in the media of about 15 years, I moved into post-secondary education and put my MBA to use as a business teacher, and then put my PhD to use as a senior administrator. And that career lasted about 20 years as well. And so, having retired about 3 years ago, I decided to get more involved with CFUW. I attended the CSW 67 and then 68 in New York. And as well as learning about women's issues on an international scale, I got to meet and got to know other CFUW members from across Canada. And this led me to putting my name forward to serve as VP Prairies in 2024. During the past 2 years as VP Prairies, excuse me, I have also served as deputy president, as chair of the HR committee, chair of the VP, of the regional VP, regional director working group that's looking at the relationships at the regional level, and as a member of the governance committee, communications, and AGM planning committees, as well as a few other duties along the way. I've had the chance to visit some, but not all of the clubs in the prairies, and I really enjoyed hearing directly from members about their concerns and especially about the accomplishments of the clubs. I've learned a great deal overall, and I look forward to using that knowledge for the benefit of CFUW in the next 2 years. Looking at vision for CFUW, I think about a speaker at a CFUW event who said that recent retirees are the best educated, healthiest, and most financially stable generation of women in Canada's history. And I know this isn't true for everyone, but for many of us, we have been very privileged in ways our mothers and grandmothers were not, and have been able to gain an education, have a career, take care of ourselves and our families. I think that CFUW appeals to this generation particularly as it offers lifelong learning, friendship, and ways to help others. And as an organization, we need to share what we offer more widely and encourage membership, excuse me, membership growth, especially with this group. I believe the group now retiring is a key demographic that CFUW can appeal to as we seek new members. As well, we can utilize our position in Canada as a member-driven women's organization to the advantage of CFUW and really the advantage of society. At the local level, much work is done, particularly for education and in advocacy, and that will, without doubt, continue. But building on that on a broader basis, we can use our combined voices to speak with provincial governments, even more so than we do now, and especially through our national office presence in Ottawa, we can carry the concerns of the 6,700 women who are members to the federal government on issues that we believe in. I've learned that CFUW is a very well-run organization. It has a solid foundation that allows for the core work of education and advocacy to be done. And I'm proud to be a part of CFUW. Thank you for your support and continued trust in me. And thank you for hosting this event today.
Thank you, Brenda, and Barbara, excuse me, and thank you also for sharing your visions with us and for putting your name forward as candidate for Vice President of Prairies. Thank you. And now I would like to call upon Patricia Atkinson, the candidate for Vice President of British Columbia, to share her thoughts and visions with us. Patricia?
Sharon, sorry, it's Janet. Patricia's not able to attend. She had a prior commitment, unfortunately.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep. So.
All right. Well, then that brings the end of the end of our candidates for the regional vice presidents, and I will turn this over to Janet.
Thank you, Sharon. Jamie, can we have the next slide, please? Thank you very much. I'm going to be introducing our candidates for our portfolio vice president positions. So our speaker order is as you see on the slide. These candidates are Nikki Carlin for VP Advocacy, Audrey Hobbs-Johnson for Education, Susan Lane for Finance, and Ann Corden for Membership. And other one, the Vice President of International Relations, as I mentioned previously, we did not receive any nominations. So we'll start, please, with Nikki. And Nikki, you will have 2 minutes to answer each of the 2 questions.
Okay. 4 minutes in total.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for the invitation to allow me to share a little bit about my background with you. For a little more than 50 years, I worked in the field of occupational health, focusing on workers' comp. I began this journey while I was an undergrad working as a workers' rep at a legal aid clinic. Moving on from there, I was an investigator at the Office of the Ombudsman and became an assistant director. It was during that time that I was charged with presenting cases to a standing committee before provincial parliament. Based on that experience, I was appointed to the Independent Workplace Safety and Insurance Tribunal by order in council as the vice chair. That tribunal had the authority to render decisions to overturn decisions of the WCB, which either the employer or the worker disagreed. I was responsible for chairing a tripartite panel, including reps from labor and management, and I sat on about 600 cases. In all but 3 cases, we were able to reach a unanimous decision. My next move was to chair the Occupational Disease Panel, a statutory body charged with investigating the relationship between work and disease. That body was again comprised of labor and management reps and also included scientific and medical members. During my tenure, we were able to come to 21 unanimous decisions, again recommending payment of workers' comp benefits. Probably the most important decision was our finding that firefighters experience brain cancer at an elevated rate and should have been compensated. This recommendation was adopted not only in Ontario, but by several other provinces. I also had the opportunity to manage a workers' occupational health clinic. At that time, I was able to organize an international conference on women's work exposure and reproductive health. To my knowledge, that has been the only conference on this subject conducted in Canada. Along the way, I completed an undergrad degree in sociology, a master's degree in environmental studies, a master's degree in sociology specializing in social justice, and I'm also probably the oldest PhD grad from Waterloo with a dissertation on work and health. Together with these activities, I was engaged in some community activities. I was the Ombudsman's rep on the Toronto Council on Policing and Race Relations. The federal government gave me the opportunity to represent Canada as an election monitor during the 3 elections before the war in Ukraine. I was a founding member of Tribunal Watch Ontario, and of course, I've been a member of CFUW for about 2 decades, serving most recently as the vice chair of legislation. Maybe it's just the chair. Anyways. So this background helped me develop both legal and medical research skills, an understanding of the production of policy papers, which are persuasive to all political parties and scientific reviewers. And maybe the most important skill has been the creation of policy documents which are accessible to professionals as well as to the public. Going on to the next question. To address your second question, I have some ideas about membership policy decisions and the promotion of our resolutions. Having just attended the Ontario Council AGM, I was very impressed with our colleagues. Their commitment and devotion to producing complete reports and diversity of backgrounds was palpable. Having said that, I think we need to work harder to include newcomers to Canada. We have to recognize that most of the recent newcomers come with extensive academic backgrounds and practical experiences. We need to find ways to include these women, not only to learn from them, but also to learn the needs of their communities and how we can meet them. We need to recognize that we also need to recognize, as another speaker just raised, that women are moving into non-traditional professions. These women can expand our vision of work and also identify professional circumstances that require attention. For example, the women in the trades may need help in integrating into male-dominated workplaces. I've just heard that they're looking for psychiatrists, psychologists, and social workers to work in some of the mining camps to provide support for the women there. With respect to our policy and resolution paths, I would suggest that we identify a limited number of issues for the national at each year's AGM. Any issue we take on will require detailed research into the published research in addition to gaining an understanding of the opinions of the community members. We have limited resources, and with that in mind, I would suggest that we canvass the membership. Based on the results of the canvass, I would suggest that we take on about 3 issues a year, preparing complete policy documents to be shared with all decision makers, be they political parties, professional organizations, or community groups. Of course, we should follow up with them in-person meetings whenever possible. Furthermore, I think we need to be more aggressive in sharing our work. At a recent OC session, politicians encouraged us to take the opportunity to make submissions at public hearings. We should do this at municipal events and standing committees of both federal and provincial governments. We need to hold public educational events and to ask to make submissions to labor and professional venues. In person is good, but written is also important. So I would suggest that we prepare an op-ed article for national and local press to advance our resolutions. It may be worth it to also see if we could get some TV or radio coverage. I think programs like the Fifth Estate and other similar programs are always looking for issues. Maybe we can encourage them to take on one of ours. Finally, I think we need to remember to have fun. Encouraging social events, which might include kids, may be a way to recruit some younger members. Some of the Windsor's best times have been during our poetry contest for middle schoolers. Thanks for letting me share these ideas, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Nikki, very much. We appreciate it. Our next speaker would be our candidate for VP Education. Audrey Hobbs Johnson, please.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And so the two questions that are be showing, and you have 2 minutes for each question.
Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you for allowing me to serve the last 2 years as education chair. Although I have an extensive background, which I'll talk a little bit about, in education, I learned as much in the last 2 years being education chair as I learned in my former life, both at university and all the different places I've been. So I have degrees in education and psychology. I am from British Columbia and went to the University of Victoria and UBC. My experience once I graduated was in the K-12 system. Then I went to the government and into curriculum and the Ministry of Education for several years. It's there that I really learned about education and how different it is across British Columbia. And so that gave me some insight when I decided to try to take on this position for CFUW about the complexities of the provincial piece, but the complexities of areas where education and health and all of those issues where the federal government gives provincial people, the provincial government's money, but it's all put together provincially. So for me, one of the pieces that's really important is working together across the country. So, and listening to Sandra, knowing BC Council as well, and the Atlantic provinces, and wherever we have regional councils, it's really important that we share our work, because it's not about one size fits all. It's about all of us being knowledgeable about what the education can be in our region and what we can strive to put together. Just a little bit of detail. As I say, I have experience at all levels, but the best experience for me was where I worked part-time for CMAC for a while, the Canadian Education Council, the Ministers' Council. And that gave me a piece that taught me something, not so much about education, but something about organizations. Nobody says that a Minister of Education has to be sitting on the CMAC Council. The reason they sit there is they want to hear what other people are saying, because they don't want to be left out. And I think it's a good lesson for us in CFUW across the country. We need to be sharing, we need to hear voices from everybody, and then we need to be making decisions based on that. My vision for education for CFUW is really around the lifelong learning piece. Recently, we talked to both committees, the Indigenous Committee and the Education Committee, about what lifelong learning meant. And out of that, it came to light that lifelong learning is the key goal for CFUW. However, it's not the same goal that we had even 10 years ago, because education, the broad meaning of education, has changed so much. It's really important that we involve everybody across the country and that we allow to hear the voices. Lots of us do lots of speaking, and sometimes we really need to listen, and that's a lesson I've learned. The K-12 system is largely controlled by the provincial government. However, one of the findings I had in my last 2 years as education chair was that there are areas nationally that we can make a difference in education. And together we need to look at those and make sure that we use those national connections so that all of our learners, whether they're K-12 learners, whether there are members who are lifelong learners, it's the public that are lifelong learners, it's really important that we make the connections across the country. To that end, I think I'm really interested in making a closer connection to CMAC, the Canadian Education Ministers' Council, because I think we can learn from each other and learn from them, and they can learn from us. The education is a key goal for CFUW, and everybody needs to be involved in it. So the education chair for me is somebody that coordinates some other people to make sure that everybody has a role in education, everybody contributes to education, and we know what's working. I look forward to, I'm hoping, another 2 years as education chair. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Audrey, very much. Our next candidate is our candidate for VP Finance, and that is Susan Lane.
Hi, I'm Susan Lane from, I belong to CFUW Sandwich Peninsula, Victoria, and also the online GWI Club. I'm a retired CPA. My work background is that I did all the articling, became a CA, and then eventually ended up as a partner in a CPA firm. And then I was also one of 4 owners of a construction company. So I've been in business for quite a while. On my non-business, my volunteer side, I've been 4 years as VP Finance, but I've also been treasurer for clubs, for numerous nonprofits, hospital boards, arts council. Once people find out you have an accounting background, that's where you're slotted. But I also know both sides of the desk in that I was an auditor in my business life, but I've also been audited. And I know because of working with other nonprofits, um, know how to budget, know how to do all those things. And I have been VP Finance for 4 years and have working with Jamie is a dream. She's very easy to work with, and that certainly helps. And then we also have a finance committee, and that they've been really good. The people we've had on the finance committee, they ask good questions. I like to have people that ask questions or aren't just always yes, yes, yes. I like to have different points of view, and usually we come to a consensus. And for my vision for CFUW, CFUW has spent money and time on branding, our new website. We've tightened up our processes. We've become super duper organized, and we reached out to clubs and to members. We're trying to get more in contact with them. We've we do great advocacy work, and with the charitable trust, and with each club, we do great work in raising funds for scholarships. And all of you, as members of clubs, know the social and community benefit of each club. But my biggest, we need to grow our membership because the membership is stagnant, the numbers, like it just grows roughly 6,700. It just grows roughly 100 a year, which isn't very much. And sadly, we're having clubs close. So what the finance committee will recommend to the new board, we would hope that they would take some of our ample surplus. We have a lot of surplus, a lot of cash on hand, and use that to pay a professional consultant to market CFUW. We've always been told we're the best kept secret. Well, let's not keep that a secret anymore. So I'd like to thank the board members I've worked with over the past 4 years. They've been great to work with, and thank you to the nomination committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Susan. Okay, we'll close out this segment with our candidate for Vice President of Membership, and that's Ann Corden, please.
What does it take to make a national mission feel real and relevant to a member sitting at her local meeting? Bridging that gap between the national stage and local passion has been the driving force of my leadership over the last 2 years as VP membership. I believe that the most meaningful conversations in our organization don't happen in boardrooms. They happen around the kitchen table. Hello, everyone. I'm Ann Corden, and it's my pleasure to speak with you today as a candidate for VP of Membership for the next 2 years. My journey with this organization spans multiple levels over many years, giving me a deep appreciation of how we operate on the ground. I've served on the executive of my local club, on my provincial council, and on the national board. And I've had the honor and privilege to be one of our CFUW delegates to the Commission of the Status of Women, CSW 69, at the UN in March of 2025. I'm going to focus on what I have been doing, not my history, because I've proven what I can do regardless of what my background is, which happens to be at the university, but that doesn't really matter. It's what I've hopefully shown I can do that matters. But my leadership philosophy is simple. I strive to be the guide on the side, not the sage on the stage. Through initiatives like Monday Membership Moments and the pop-up think tanks, I actively work to bridge the gap between administrative oversight, the spreadsheets, the Zoom cards, and the handing out of awards, all of which are important, but the most important is to connect and to recognize local innovation. I believe that the whole is better than the sum of its parts, and I tackle our shared goals with positivity, hard work, and I think a sense of humor. Okay, I want to go on to my vision for the next 5 to 10 years. But I'm looking at the next 5 to 10 years, I envisage a CFUW that is even more inclusive and multi-generational. But to get there, I think we need to rethink the role of VP membership and the National Membership Committee. Under my leadership as VP, this committee must act as a proactive engine that actively strengthens our clubs from the ground up. Working in partnership with the regional VPs and the regional RDs, we will and must support each other and collaborate our efforts to strengthen our clubs. To achieve this, I see our work focusing on 3 critical areas. First, we must promote distributed leadership to tackle our greatest challenge, operational sustainability and volunteer burnout. The committee will model this by providing toolkits and other resources to deconstruct large, unwieldy volunteer roles into smaller, manageable tasks. Second, we must modernize our support. We need to turn club information into actionable insights. By developing and analyzing exit surveys and club history profiles, we can proactively identify trends and develop concrete retention strategies. Furthermore, by aggressively curating our national resource library, we can provide immediate practical toolkits so that RDs and clubs need not reinvent the wheel, and they in turn can provide feedback of what works and what resources are needed. Third, we must foster a culture of innovation and sharing. As we started this year, we are shifting away from static membership awards based solely on numbers. Instead, we are recognizing and rewarding clubs that try new, replicable strategies. We're actively soliciting these bright ideas to disseminate them nationwide, starting this year at the Montreal AGM with our speed sharing and club showcase events. By grounding our work in 3 critical ingredients, inclusion, leadership, and sharing, as VP membership and the membership committee, we will bridge the gap between national resources and local passion. We will build that village effect, amplifying our collective intelligence to ensure that we remain a vital, enduring advocate for women and girls in a rapidly changing world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anne. Okay, Jamie, can I have the next slide, please? Okay, our final group of candidates is our candidates for president. And the speaker order is as you see on the screen, and I'm going to turn this portion over to Joy Hurst, our other committee member. And okay, Joy.
Thank you very much. As the immediate past national president, it's my pleasure to introduce our 2 candidates for national president. CFUW is so rich in talent and skills and dedication to the advancement of women, and you will see that in our 2 candidates. Heather Oxman from Lethbridge and Linda Sestock from Montreal. You each have 3 minutes to answer each of the questions. So in total, you have 6 minutes. And Heather, we would call on you first. The floor is yours.
Thank you. So why me? Why now? Well, first, I began learning how to work with people as the daughter of rural storekeepers in Dogpound, Alberta. I aspired to be a physician and finished my science degree with honors and became a respiratory therapist instead. On a dare, I applied to become a nature interpreter and worked with song, drama, and storytelling in Elk Island National Park. And from there, I spent 30 years in government, provincial, federal, and municipal, as a leader in public education and communication. My forte during my career and after was working with and on behalf of volunteers and staff. In my spare time, I was a volunteer with learning organizations like the University of Calgary, SAIT, Algonquin College, Pink Triangle Services, the United Way, and the Galt Museum and Archives, and plus now with CFUW. I've been a CFUW member for 11 years, and I've briefly served on their local board and for 4 years on the national board. I am a sexual violence survivor. I am a member of the LGBTQ community, and I am a cancer survivor. I am an experienced advocate for social change. My VP advocacy work here has created new services for members, study groups for long-term care and healthcare, the drop-in cafe, the annual advocacy toolbox webinar for orientation of clubs and presidents, the Advocacy 101 video for clubs, the Resource Hubs Advocacy Handbook, and the formation of the Community of Practice for the Environment Subcommittee. And along with toolkits for elections, 16 days, and the annual resolutions, plus the work on federal consultations for artificial intelligence, the Sustainable Development Framework that the government is forming, and other House and Senate bills, most recently S2, an act to change the Indian Act, I've led advocacy dialogue and development. Maybe you participated in the various committee meetings, witnessed my facilitative style of working in and with groups, like the committees in communications, advocacy, education, international relations, and resolutions. Maybe you've seen how I listen and assemble information for decision and action. Maybe you've joined my workshop series on creating collective impact, where we learn together about how to collaborate in communities more effectively. Maybe you participated in the facilitated consultation with regional colleagues to develop a framework for education and advocacy in CFUW. The board knows my work. I ask questions and I prompt innovation. You know me. I can do the work. What I go through, I get through, and I grow through. I believe in daring greatly, showing up and being courageous, connected, and engaged. Let's work together to create sustainable solutions for our challenges. I was asked to run for this position by some who determined a different kind of leadership was needed. With my background in public education and communications, and with you and our staff, we can move CFUW closer to our mission, ensuring transformational change with and for girls and women through education and empowerment. And now, my vision. We need leadership with a plan, with a vision, and with the skills to move this team forward. Predicting the future is dangerous. We live inside a world and on a continent that is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. Yet CFUW continues to work for a better world locally and guided by adopted resolutions regionally, nationally, and internationally. We strive for transformational change with and for women and girls. But transformation happens by showcasing role models, sharing our blueprints to success, communicating our conviction to our values, aligning with policies and resolutions, and building skills. Our vision and mission will not change. What might change under my leadership is the intensity of our collective focus to achieve our mission and vision, using public education and promotion in new ways. As Susan indicated, sustainability is our first principle. Growth of our membership numbers is critical to CFUW. Under my leadership, you can expect us to implement a communication plan aimed at specific external audiences so that, hopefully, by 2035, our membership will have grown by at least 30%, especially in the age cohort 45 to 60. And this plan will build on our brand image and apply to national and club communities. Our primary target audience will include women with mature families, post-secondary faculty members, skilled tradeswomen, allies seeking social justice for women, and include Indigenous women, other racialized women, disabled women, and marginalized women who we can invite to ground us, to mentor us, and join in our efforts to make a difference. Plus, we know that women live a journey of caregiving. So new and established members can find respite here because a CFUW is a dream come true for women seeking an engaged, supportive, social community in middle and later life. Our clubs all continue to deliver warm, friendly, supportive socializing, focused national advocacy with community outreach projects, engaging lifelong learning opportunities, and inspiration to younger women with scholarships and awards. Additionally, during this biennium, we will organize a day on Parliament Hill, and clubs will be invited to participate. We will provide club leadership, coaching, and volunteer management learning sessions so that leaders and members who want to learn and lead can become more effective in their clubs, and we will strengthen the board through dialogue and specific leadership development opportunities. With hope and joyful work, a great staff team, an aligned board, and a clear plan, we will serve members and their clubs better with growth, support, and sustainability. There will be unity without uniformity, diversity without division. We haven't come this far only to have come this far. Let me be your leader. I hope for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. And now we move to Linda Sestock. Linda, you have 3 minutes to answer each question.
Hopefully it's just starting now. All right, there's a message on my screen. Good evening. Bonsoir tout le monde. Merci pour votre présence ici ce soir. Thank you everyone for taking the time to be here tonight. What do I bring to the position? 4 years of executive national board experience, including deputy president and human relations chair, culminating in my current term as national president. My past CFUW leadership includes being president and past president, to name just a few positions in my 14 years as a CFUW member. I have been a regional director. I have been president of the Quebec Council. I am an award-winning realtor with over 23 years of experience, and I studied history and political science back in my days at McGill. I provided leadership on the special committee to hire Executive Director Jamie Bagan and managed a crucial transition period during our long-standing Executive Director's retirement and the hiring of our new ED. During the same time period, I was involved with the hiring of Elizabeth Malcolm, our member engagement coordinator, and I'm the main liaison with the executive director. We meet weekly and work closely for the betterment of CFUW. During the last 2 years, I had the great privilege of being National CFUW President, where I worked diligently to visit clubs across Canada and to remind clubs, and especially our members, how important they are as CFUW sisters. I've had the opportunity to travel to BC, clubs in Quebec, Calgary, Edmonton, Saskatoon, St. John, Newfoundland, Winnipeg, Manitoba, and many cities in Ontario. This past week, I drove to Peterborough for the Ontario Council AGM, and I will be visiting Halifax, Moncton, and Fredericton next week. I attend community and national networking events in Montreal and Ottawa to represent CFUW National. I was recently a guest speaker at the Montreal Muslim Women's Association, and I was on the panel with Senators McFedrin and Mary Jane McCollum in Winnipeg. Advocacy is an important part of CFUW, and I represented CFUW on the international stage at the GWI Triennial in Zambia. I am proud of leading our group of CFUW members to visit our ISP project in the eastern province of Chipata. Not an easy undertaking, but one that I would do again in a heartbeat. I represented CFUW at the International Alliance of Women Virtual Triennial, at the UN CSW 70 and CSW 69 in New York, actively fulfilling the President's duty to promote CFUW to governments, NGOs, and civil societies. Did you know that much of our national networking occurs during that time, during and around our time at the United Nations? This was our second year as co-hosts with Senator McFedrin for the Canadian Welcome. I'm very proud of that. Thanks to our efforts, Minister Rechi Valdez not only attended our panel, but was a guest speaker. Wage also spoke about our event at a pre-CSW 70 virtual event with Canadian NGOs and civil societies. My work skills help me to be organized and adept at multitasking. A good thing is I have a fiduciary responsibility for CFUW's financial health, and I'm a member of the Finance Committee, not to mention all of the other committees. Social media skills have also been an asset as I am able to support the other clubs throughout Canada. My leadership style prioritizes fostering a positive working environment and team building, focusing on empowering the woman around me. My club visits across Canada reminded club leaders and members of their vital role as CFUW sisters, and I know I have given others the confidence to do more. We truly are stronger together. Moving on to my vision for the future of CFUW. My vision is to continue building a CFUW where every woman and girl is educated, empowered, and equipped to drive transformative change. We are stronger together is not just a catchphrase. It is the very foundation of how we expand our reach and support our members. To achieve this, my vision focuses on 4 key pillars: modernizing leadership and supporting our clubs. We must adapt to changing times. Many clubs are facing challenges filling their executive roles. My vision is to champion flexible modern leadership models, moving away from rigid hierarchies towards collaborative cyclical management. We need to highlight the innovation already happening in our clubs, such as shared co-presidencies, and ensure we are truly listening to our club leaders, regional directors, vice presidents, and club members. Reaching out to communication specialists to ensure that we are targeting the right message to the right people to help our clubs. Deepening strategic advocacy. CFUW's voice is powerful, but we must be intentional, focusing on impact rather than chasing every passing issue. We must remain vigilant in protecting hard-won rights, from basic health care and reproductive freedom to combating intimate partner violence and gender apartheid. We will amplify our voice by strengthening alliances with key national organizations like CREA, WAGE, the Canadian Women's Foundation, National Council of Women Canada, BPW, and CARP. I am fostering these collaborative relationships because women's issues are human issues. Together, we can fight back against the pushback on equity and advance critical conversations on the environment, women's health, and the ethics of AI. Guaranteeing financial sustainability and growth. We have successfully held the line on dues throughout thoughtful deliberations from the board, with no increases planned for the foreseeable future. Instead, we are responsibly utilizing our reserves for critical investments that directly serve you, such as translation, robust communication tools, and restoring the vital human connection of in-person AGMs. Moving forward, I am championing a targeted strategy to increase membership and diversify our revenues through corporate sponsorships and grants. For the first time this year, we're actually raising some money through sponsorship, and I'm very proud of that. I've already begun meeting with organizations like Scotia Wealth to explore these avenues, ensuring CFUW has the resources to thrive for years to come. F4, celebrating our vital human connection. While Zoom and AI are wonderful tools, they will never replace the true heart of CFUW, our sisterhood. From bridge and book clubs to gourmet dinners, biking and our jaunters, lifelong education and human connection are our lifeblood. We celebrate learning from primary school to graduate studies and every day in between. Look at the incredible work happening right now, like Linda Davis in London, Ontario, and her inspiring mentorship with students, or Val from Cornwall and District. I'm proudly wearing 2 of the friendship bracelets that her and her club made for us. Our founders in 1919 were bold, visionary women. I believe that they would be amazed by what CFUW is achieving today, and I'm proud to be following their lead. With my extensive experience at CFUW these past 14 years, from club level, provincial, and national level, I look forward to building on the momentum that we have created. I look forward to leading CFUW into a vibrant, sustainable, and powerful future. Thank you. Merci beaucoup. Zikomo.
Thank you very much to both Joy for handling this and to our two candidates for their presentations. Okay, Jamie, the next slide, please. One thing we wanted to mention is the last thing in the nomination brief, if you will, is nominations from the floor. And wanted to say that the nominations from the floor can be made at the AGM for each office, including those for which no nominations have been received. And what will happen is the chair will ask for, as each office is announced, the chair will ask for if there are any nominations from the floor. Wanted to point out, though, that any AGM voting delegate can make the nomination from the floor, but it has to be completed by accompanied, I'm sorry, by a completed nominations package, just as all of you would have had to submit during the nomination period, as well as having a club nomination. So I just wanted to point out that this is not something that can be done spontaneously, that this is, if anyone is going to make this nomination, it would have to be prepared in advance, certainly, of being presented at the AGM. So I'll just put a shout out for anyone who might still want to come forward, especially for our position of Vice President of International Relations. That's a big job and an important job, and we hope that there might be a member who, on reflection, would consider coming forward. So, okay, thank you. Next slide, Jamie. Thank you. And for this portion, I'm going to turn it back over to Karen Dunnett. Karen, you're muted.
Thank you. Thank you, Janet. Sorry. Thank you for letting me know I'm talking to thin air. As you can see from this slide, that the board has a number of committees. We felt that this supplementary information was important to share, since the committees are an integral part of the board. They provide valuable insight to the board and staff, as well as serving as an important training ground for future leaders. You will see here a number of the committees have asterisks by them. Those are our VP portfolio VPs who are chairing those committees. The RD committee chair is chosen from the committee members, and the other committee chairs are appointed by the president and ratified by the board. Having heard these women and their exciting plans and vision for the future of CFUW, you may be interested in working with them. And you can do that by signing up or applying for any number of these committees. The expression for interest in board committees will be coming out the first week of June, with all the information you need to know about how to apply and the application. And the period for applications will run till August 17th. So you'll have plenty of time to think in detail about these and find out some more information. So I'm sure any board member would be happy to give you more detailed information about any of them. So put on your thinking caps. Become part of the team. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Karen. Okay, Jamie, the next slide, please. Okay, we have a spot here for questions, and I just have to point out that because of CFUW's campaign policy, we can't pose questions directly to the candidates. But if you have any other questions that we can help you with, we'd be happy to answer them. Okay. In that case, then we'll go on to the next slide.
There is,
Oh, sorry.
Ellen has a question.
Okay, sorry, Helen, I didn't see your.
Unmute. Oh, there. She's got it.
Thank you. I couldn't seem to work fast enough to get my little hand up there. So thank you
Thanks for
for that.
noticing, Linda. I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm always curious to know um, how many just simply members are at meetings like this. Like, I think we're all invited, and I recognize quite a few faces and names from having been to previous national meetings. And I'm just wondering, like today, I thought that there'd be like a whole big house full of membership from all over the world. I mean, all over Canada, I should say. Sorry. So I'm just wondering how many of us here would be just ordinary members, come to hear all of you wonderful leaders.
I don't know, Jamie, I think you can tell us how many people are here.
Well, there were 56 and there are 52 now.
Okay.
Yeah, we had 59 at the highest with
Okay.
74 registrants.
Thanks, Jamie.
You're welcome. Which is almost triple what we had at last year's.
Oh, wow.
Well, that's pretty good.
We had 19 attendees at last year's.
So,
yes, those are the numbers I have off the top of my head. I don't have anything else already.
Well, Helen, I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's okay.
I think been reasonably well publicized, and we're glad we have the numbers that we do have. So,
I guess I'm just so interested in everything that's going on CFUW, and I think everybody should be as, gung-ho as I am. But that's not necessarily true, and I apologize if it's an awkward question.
No, and it's not one that I can easily answer, I'm afraid.
Yeah. No, I totally understand.
Yeah. Linda, you had a...
Yeah, no, I just wanted to let Helen know that it's being recorded. So the good thing is that everybody will be able to see it afterwards. So everyone who couldn't come tonight, and you can share it with your friends as well and say, hey, check out the CFUW membership and please join a committee. So that's what I would say.
That's what I thought when that was mentioned a moment or so ago. Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you, Linda.
Karen, you had a...
Yeah. Helen, I'm really glad that you're so engaged. I'm glad that we've become friends from our trip to Edmonton. I think that a lot of people come, they know somebody in their club is showing up, and they're waiting for that somebody to come back to them and tell them. But I think you're right. They're really missing out in getting to see the depth of skills and of commitment and the energy that our candidates show when we have these meetings. And they're relatively new. They started really just when COVID came along and we weren't having in person so much. So maybe it takes a little while for people to know about it, but please spread the word about how engaging it is to hear these people firsthand.
Oh, so true. So true, Karen. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you. Okay, Jamie, we'll go to the next slide then, please.
Were you wanting me to speak to this one?
Yes, please.
Okay. So just quickly, as we wrap up here, we do have the National AGM in Montreal this summer, which does include the elections and a day conference. So we have speakers that we've brought in. So we do have some information here. Don't forget to register or come join us in Montreal. We would love to see everyone in person. Myself and the national team, we will be there helping out and getting to see everybody face to face, which we absolutely love doing. So yeah, we've got a great group of speakers. We have two workshops, one on new leadership models and volunteerism, and then also intersectionality and DEI. So there are a lot of different topics that we're going over, and we're excited to have everyone hopefully join us in Montreal. So yes. Our early bird discount ends on May 31st. So if you haven't registered soon so you can get the discount.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, there's one more, and this is my thank you. And I first, of course, want to thank Sharon and Joy, the members of the nomination committee, who, we've spent a lot of time together over the last number of weeks. And I want to thank the candidates. Really, as you know, they're a group of outstanding women who are offering to lead our organization for the next 2 years, and we are so fortunate to have them come forward. And then thanks to all of you who came to participate this evening. It's important and gratifying that you're all taking the time to do this and taking an interest in the future of our organization. So with that, I guess, thank you.
I will
Good night.
jump in quickly because we need
Okay.
pictures.
Okay.
And I promised Joy she would get pictures. So if I can get, if you want to be in the picture, turn your camera on. If you don't, you can keep it off. I will have to do two because we have two screens full of people. So I will count down from 3, 2, 1, and then take the first one and then the second one. So 3, 2, 1. Okay, 1 second, and 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Thank you very much. Everyone have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Jamie, for
Thank
doing
you, Jamie.
hosting.
Thank you very much.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Thank you.